Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, the Shaa'Vaee Show. I am back again to give you my review on season 4 episode 2 of Greenleaf. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Okay, so the episode opens up with Charity knocking on Gigi's door at the break of dawn to give a fake apology because she latched out the night before and just got super emotional about the fact that Gigi was able to get Jacob the role as associate pastor and not Charity. I guess she's also apologizing for telling her family to kiss her behind when she said that whether they're with her or not, she's going to become associate pastor, or she's going to become a pastor, and there's nothing that they can do about it. So she gives Gigi this fake apology. Gigi accepts the apology, and Charity walks out of the door. So as Charity's walking out, her smile kind of turns into like a shadiness or a pettiness, kind of like giving off let the games begin. Okay, so, and backtrack, before Charity leaves Gigi's room, she also doesn't forget to mention or ask Gigi if she could put in a word to Phil and Bob to see if she can resume her place as the minister of music at Calvary, aka H&H. So Gigi's like, you know what, I'll see what I can do about this. So as we saw last episode, Charity agrees to work with Phil and Bob, who I was calling Mini Trump last episode, to spy on her family, and in exchange for spying on her family and basically reporting back to Phil whatever her family is trying to do to regain their throne at Calvary, in exchange for Charity spying, she would become associate pastor. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, at this point Charity is desperate to become a pastor, and she is at the point in her life where she's like, I'll do whatever it takes to get to where I need to get to, even if that means selling out my family. So Phil is basically charming Charity and using reverse psychology to make her feel like her family doesn't love her, and what she is doing, I mean spying. By spying on her family, she is doing the right thing to get what she needs to get to, because if she doesn't do it this way, then who knows when she'll be able to become an associate pastor or to follow her dreams and just becoming a pastor. So of course Charity is falling for it, but at the same time she's kind of hesitant. But she's still just, I don't know what to say about Charity. Charity, cry me a river, build a bridge, get over it. We're going to see what happens to you in the episodes to come. So then we see that Bishop James is trying to win his wife back by planning a trip to Paris. So he tells Charity that he's getting ready to speak to the travel consultant and get everything ready for the trip, for like a honeymoon. So while Bishop is trying to plan this romantic honeymoon trip, as he's going to break the news, or not even break the news, but enlighten Lady Mae with this news, Lady Mae is enraged because she just received an invoice from Connie from her Day with Lady Mae event that happened last season. And she's just like, I don't understand why these people just don't respect me. So she is just over it with Harmony and Hope and with Connie, and Connie partnered with them to try to get the Greenleafs out. So she's just over everything. So the bishop is just really trying to win his wife back. So he connects with his former assistant, who is now Gigi's assistant, and who also assists Phil and Bob at Harmony and Hope. So he connects with her to dig up some dirt on Bob and Phil. I believe it's Bob and Phil. And he is planning to share what he found out with Lady Mae. So he shows Lady Mae what he found, and Lady Mae is just like, no, I'm not with it. So Bishop is kind of like, okay, at this point, I'm trying to not only win my church back and win my wife back, but I'm trying to show my wife that two can play that game. And when two plays that game, I'm going to play harder. So when he shows Lady Mae what he discovered, Lady Mae is just like, no, I'm not here for it. I don't want to go tit for tat. I don't want to fight evil with evil. I'm just not here for it anymore. And I completely understand Lady Mae, because for the past few seasons, they have just been, if somebody comes to bark at them, they just bark harder, or bark louder, I should say. And Lady Mae is just sick and tired of it at this point. She just wants her church back. She just wants this all to be done and over with. She wants the fiasco to end, but it seems like it's just never ending. So that's where Bishop is at now. He's just like, okay, I guess I didn't sweep her off her feet with this one. So gotta go back to the drawing board, Bishop. Moving along. Okay, so now we have Jacob, who is starting his role as associate pastor at Calvary and H&H. And his first assignment that Grace gave to him, or his first task, is to speak to Phil about the Blue Lake summer camp and why Phil is trying to cancel it or trying to get rid of it, or whatever is taking place. Gigi's like, listen, you're associate pastor now. You can take on some of my responsibilities, so you're going to handle that, Jacob. So Jacob goes to meet with Phil about Blue Lake summer camp, and Phil basically tells him that Calvary and Harmony and Hope cannot no longer fund this program because they could use the money elsewhere. And on top of that, the program does not support diversity or does not promote diversity. So, backstory for those of you who don't know what Blue Lake Summer Camp is. It is a summer camp for Black children to further understand their culture, further explore their culture, and just really embrace who they are as Black people. And Phil, who is Black, is trying to take this away from these children, take this away from Calvary. So, I was just as shocked as Jacob was when Phil said that, because I'm like, coming from a brother, you should kind of already know what it's like to be Black in America, what it's like to be Black and go to schools where they don't really teach you about your culture. So if you have the opportunity to go to a summer camp that's going to help you embrace your culture, then why would you want to get rid of it again? Okay, so now Grace steps up, and Grace is like, you know what, if Harmony Hope is not going to pay for it, I'm going to pay for it. So Phil is trying to come for Grace, and he's like, oh, do you have the money for it? And Grace is like, yes, I do have the money for it. So eventually Grace gets her way, and Phil says, okay, so since you put up, I think she put up $100K, Grace got money, so I guess she put up money for it. And Phil's like, okay, well, we'll put up the rest, but we're going to have to talk about it from here on out because it looks like we're going to have to scrap it. So that was Jacob's role and Jacob's job, that Grace pretty much sealed the deal on it because Jacob couldn't deliver, because Phil was just not trying to talk to Jacob about it. Okay, so moving along with Jacob. He finally meets up with his mentee, the basketball player, and they hang out for a little bit, and they go to a gym and play basketball with a football. So I guess this was kind of like the mentee's opportunity to test Jacob. And so what he does is, after they play a game or whatever the case is, and he, I guess, gets Jacob comfortable, he says to Jacob, listen, I don't want you on my back. I don't want you going back and telling what I'm doing. So here's 10K. If you could be quiet, it's yours. So Jacob is just like, no, I'm not here for that. Like, you can keep your money. This is not, I'm just not into that. No, this is not what I'm doing. Jacob was probably at this point like, listen, I had enough with scams. I'm not doing this no more. I am not trying to get in trouble no more. Me and money don't need no more trouble. So Jacob's mentee says, you know what? I guess he says it was a test. And I guess that was him testing to see if Jacob was a real one. So Jacob passed the test. So we're going to see how far their mentor and mentee relationship goes. Moving along. So your girl Carissa is still out here looking for a house that nobody wants to live in. So Zora pretty much is out and in the cabin. They still have the young child, which, okay, I understand. And then Jacob is just not, his mind is not in this space to focus on moving into a house. I mean, come on. He just got a job, Carissa. So she's looking for houses, and she is like desperate. Like, she is really determined to find this house and to move out of Lady Mae and Bishop James's house once and for all. But Jacob is just not ready. So Carissa is still just very down, still trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to convince Jacob that it's time to move and it's time for us to get our own place. Jacob is not ready. Carissa is ready. So I'm sure they're gonna bump heads again along the way this season. So we're gonna see what happens with this whole house situation. And I really want to see if Carissa is going to up and leave. Like, if she's just gonna buy a house, like, to try to teach Jacob a lesson, or not even teach him a lesson, just to show him that, like, she's not playing around. I want to see where that goes if she really, like, buys a house, because she seems very determined. So speaking of Jacob and Carissa, let's talk about Zora. So Zora in this episode is still, just like her mother, determined. Zora's determined in this episode as well. She's determined for several reasons. One, she's still determined to meet this mentee that her father is mentoring, and I don't know if she thinks they're gonna supposed to hook up or what is gonna happen, but we already know Jacob is not having it. So Zora's also determined to get Sophia to live with her, because Sophia is considering not going to Hampton University in the summer and to just stay back with her mom and Zora and the family. So Zora's like, listen, you can stay with me. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I don't know how I feel about those two living together. I mean, I guess you can say it probably wouldn't be that bad. My thought is, I just don't want Zora to be a bad example for Sophia. Not that Zora's a bad person, but Sophia is just so much different from Zora. I don't want Zora to rub off on Sophia. I just like them to be their own two separate people. But at the same time, I do feel like Sophia does have a good head on her shoulders, and she's able to make decisions on her own. I mean, she looks to Zora for advice, but it's about, like, specific things. It's not like she looks up to Zora or anything like that. So I don't know how I feel about them living together. But that's what Zora is determined to do. So she's determined to turn that cabin into her own she shed and live life, have her own space, and be independent. Now let's get to the good part. So your girl Gigi. So Noah visits Gigi at Calvary, aka H&H, and when Noah meets with Gigi, they talk about their son AJ. So now Gigi had a son when she was very young, and she did not tell Noah that she was pregnant, nor did she tell him that she gave birth and that the son is still living. So Gigi just explains that she was young, she couldn't take care of AJ, so she basically gave him up. So now the two of them are just trying to figure out, okay, what do we do from here? Because Noah feels like, I don't want that to shake my family up. Long story short, Noah is just like, well, we need to figure this out and, nip this in the bud, because he keeps calling us, and right now he's in jail. So Gigi does what she thinks is best, and the first person that she needs to break the news to is Sophia. So now, if you were like me, I was kind of thinking, okay, I don't know how Sophia is going to react. Is she going to, be upset because it's like, Mom, how do I have a brother and you never told me? Or is she going to be upset like, I don't know. I just didn't know how she was going to react. So Gigi breaks the news to Sophia, and Sophia is pissed. But she's pissed because she's just like, how could you leave my brother for dead, so to speak, not take care of him and let him live without a mother, and now he's in prison, the Greenleaf household has just taught her about, a lot about God and being truthful and faith and having faith and all of this stuff. When she's starting to see that everything that they have taught her, so many of them are just walking contradictions. So Sophia is pissed. She's so pissed to the point where she's like, you know what? I'm not even staying here for the summer. I'm gonna pack my bags. I'm gonna call my father. And I'm going to college because I cannot deal. So Sophia does exactly that. She gets her things ready. She puts it in the car. And she's getting ready to go to college. Before she leaves, Gigi comes to the car and she's like, I love you. Basically, there's nothing she can do because Sophia is grown at this point. And classes are pretty much paid for. Sophia's going and that's it. So Grace's heart is broken. However, Now that she sees how Sophia reacted and she's starting really to think about answering AJ's call. So AJ has been calling her and Noah off the hook, but they have not been answering his calls. But we do learn that there was a while back that Gigi did speak to AJ. So Gigi finally accepts AJ's call. So AJ is someone that I first of all, when I thought, or when the conversation of Gigi having a son that was in prison came up, I still am thinking of her son as being like Sophia, like someone that's good, someone that's a good kid. Maybe he just got into some trouble, and that can still be the case because we still don't know much about him. But honey, when Gigi got on the phone with AJ was straight to the point. Are you gonna help me or not? Are we doing this or what? What's happening? I don't have time to play games. He gives off the real gangster vibes. Gangster vibes to me, as if he has been in prison for a good while. So Gigi's like, you know what? Yes, I'll help you out. I'll find a place for you to stay. And I'm going to, I'm sure you need some money, so I'll be sure to help you out with some money. Ooh, child. I cannot wait to see how this plays out in episode 3 because this is tea. So that's pretty much where we left off at. So AJ is going to be a new cast member on the show. I want to see how Grace breaks the news to her family, and I'm sure Charity and Carissa are going to get a kick out of it, and I'm sure Lady Mae, when she finds this out, I hope she don't go back to her old ways and start treating Grace any type of way, because now her and Grace have something similar, but still, Grace's other secret ain't out yet, which is also Lady Mae's secret. So I am pretty sure that episode 3 is going to be lit. I am so excited that I'm taking this journey with all of you. I cannot wait to talk more about Greenleaf. So if you haven't already done so, be sure to subscribe, like, turn on your notifications, comment below. Let me know some of your favorite highlights of the episode. Let me know your thoughts on Grace's secret. How do you think the Greenleafs are going to react to it? What does the future of Calvary look like? Let's just talk about everything, anything Greenleaf related. All right, y'all. Thank you again for rocking with your girl. I cannot wait to see y'all next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.